Hello everyone, my name is Vladislav. This is my third video, third update on the war against Russian invasion in Ukraine. I don't know if you are aware, but I am born and raised in Ukraine. Today I'm recording from Hamburg, Germany. It's almost 1 a.m. and it's been a really long day, a lot of actions, a lot of things happened. So this video will be a little bit longer than usual, and the upload is happening a bit later than usual. However, first things first, how Ukrainians are feeling. Well, overall, I can say that the morale is at all-time high. We are staying strong. We are very hopeful. We believe in our army. We support our army however we can. But on the other hand, people are very stressed. People are very scared all over the world, not only in Ukraine. So people are sleeping in bomb shelters because the missile warnings are happening every single day, or the airstrike warnings are happening several times during the day. People cannot stay at home for even several hours in a row because they hear the sirens, they need to find shelter, and especially at night, Russia is bombing on our cities, and people have to sleep in metro stations, in bomb shelters, in the cellars of buildings, in underground parkings, and this is very, very morally exhausting. However, our country, our government, our journalists, our army, our community, and the community of the world gives us so much support that we are able to go on. Personally, I also have been quite stressed, but right now I finally managed to put my thoughts in place, and I managed to handle my kind of emotional stress levels or whatever at the level where I can operate as a human being. I'll be honest, for the first 2 days I was crashing kind of all the time by reading all these horrible news. And if you think that's a lot, imagine people in Ukraine. So if you are sleeping in the comfort of your bed, if you are sleeping in with a feeling of safety, you should be grateful for that, because millions of people in Ukraine do not have that at the moment, which is very, very unfortunate and very sad. So I have a lot of news today, so let's start. I will start with some victories, or some positive news rather, that happened over the past 24 hours. So the technical preparations are being made to disconnect Russia from SWIFT. This is a very, very big achievement for in this war against Russia and against Putin. So Russia is suffering a huge economic crisis. The stock of many Russian companies is crashing. The ruble price is decreasing. The value of ruble is decreasing. People in Russia are lining up in ATMs to take their money out of the banks because they are expecting the banks to crash. It's on one side good and on the other side bad, because these sanctions, all these measures, they're not hitting Putin and Lukashenko, who are the main actors in this act of war, act of terror, but they are impacting the Russian people. However, I believe that Russians, more than anyone in this world, have the power to stop this without a nuclear response internally. Yeah, they can make this nightmare disappear. So hitting them makes them realize that their government, their rulers are bad, and they need to rise up against these dictators. Then some news from the cyberspace. Websites like Facebook, YouTube, Pornhub, and OnlyFans are implementing measures to block or de-incentivize Russian citizens and influencers who are using them. The measures are different, but what I would like to propose is that if you are working in a company that provides some kind of digital service, please reach out to your management and ask them, hey, let's implement some kind of measure against Russia or to support Ukraine in a certain way. I think it will show Russia even more that they need to speak up. They need to stand up against the government. On the other hand, as I mentioned, the Anonymous Collective has joined the war, a very serious war against Russia and Belarus. These countries will realize that pissing off hackers is a very, very bad idea. Many of their websites are down. I think almost all the government websites are down. In the chats where all the attacks against Russian websites or digital services are coordinated, we cannot easily find another target anymore. So we have to get even more creative. But this is great. By keeping these websites down, we are also hitting their economy. Also, the Anonymous Collective on Twitter reported that they hacked a gas control system in Russia, and they managed to start increasing the pressure in the tubes so much that it was on the edge of an explosion, but a human controller prevented it. I do not know how true it is. There were some screenshots proving that they indeed had access to a gas control system, but I don't know if they actually were able to increase the gas pressure a lot. There was another report that one of the biggest Russian banks, Sberbank, was hacked by Georgian hackers, and their database was being downloaded. But I think this was fake because there was no proof of data being leaked somewhere online. And in general, hackers from all over the world are attacking Russian government businesses, also Belarusian government businesses and websites. And I encourage you to join the fight. So you can help by performing a denial of service attack from your computer. It is easy. Please reach out to me. I will forward you to channels in Telegram, in the Telegram Messenger, where you can get instructions in Ukrainian, in English, how to set up an application or a piece of software that will consistently send requests to the Russian websites or Russian digital services, and will help keep them down. So please reach out. There are instructions, there are tutorials, and the attacks are being coordinated in English as well. And so, yeah, don't hesitate. Join the fight. Then, some things about the Ukrainian army. Besides the Ukrainian army, more than 50,000 people signed up into territorial or regional defense troops to protect our land, and 50,000 more joined the army through the reserves. So basically, people who served in the past, who served in the army, like either recently or a long time ago, but they're not anymore actively serving. They were summoned into the army again, and basically in the past 4 days, our army increased by 50,000 soldiers with military experience and 50,000 volunteers who are being equipped with ammunition, with armor, and so on, and they are being trained how to use this equipment, how to use weapons, and how to protect their land. And just as a reminder, right now the statistic is that there are somewhere between 100 and 150,000 Russian troops on the Ukrainian territory, and in the past it was assumed that they do have a numbers advantage over us. Right now they do not, because basically every person in Ukraine volunteered to protect our land, either by fighting or by supporting the army. And I really think that Putin attacked a wrong country here, and he will never win this war. And you will see why in some of my later facts about this war. From other reports, a lot of tanks and military vehicles are just abandoned on the streets. So this is not a propaganda fact. This is not fake, because I saw a lot of videos online where tanks and military vehicles are just left on the streets. Some of them ran out of fuel and the soldiers escaped. Some of them were just abandoned because soldiers, maybe they were scared and they are feeling extremely demoralized. So the prisoners of war who were captured by the Ukrainian army, they are giving interviews, or they are reporting they are extremely scared, they are extremely tired. They spent 1 month in winter on this military exercise that was conducted like prior to the invasion, so they were already tired, and now they were sent to Ukraine without enough food, without enough petrol to fuel their tanks and their vehicles. They don't have enough equipment because they are being captured, and they don't have the bulletproof vests, they don't have the helmets, they have basically nothing. They are under equipped, and they are sent to Ukraine for certain death. They are sent here basically as like meat. Yeah, and this is extremely crazy. And the Russian government who is doing that is it's just evil. And we are encouraging Russian troops to lay down the arms, because they will not win. They will die here. And we want them to go back home. We want them to see their mothers. We want them to see their families. And we don't want their families to see them in a plastic bag or in a coffin. Um, yeah. Then there was a lot of fighting in the Kharkiv region, but now it is completely under the control of the Ukrainian army. The enemy is retreating. This is at least what our government is reporting. There was also a very tough battle near the city of Sumy. But as of today, it's still under the Ukrainian control, and the situation is stable. Also, the cities of Chernihiv and Mariupol are doing okay. They are well fortified, and our army managed to fight the invaders back. About Kyiv, it's being under very, very heavy attack, under very heavy invasion. Basically, the city is being bombed and shelled constantly every night. But people cannot sleep in their homes. They have to sleep in bomb shelters, because during the day, the infantry and tanks and the aviation is trying to bomb the city. At night, they are sending missiles just to exhaust the population. And we can keep their infantry and tanks and whatever they send onto us. We are fighting that back. So they are getting upset, of course, and they are targeting civilians, and this is just horrible. But from other reports, that the north and the west directions of Kyiv are under control. It's calm there. In some others, there are heavy battles. Then, some news from the international support. The EU, Canada, and Albania closed their airspace for any Russian airplane. So they cannot land in Europe or in these countries, and they cannot get out of it. So I personally saw that because I was flying from Warsaw to Hamburg today, and I saw flights canceled from and to Russia. Then the European Union has made an executive decision to give 450 million euros worth of military aid to Ukraine. This is for the first time in history EU supported another country in a military related action. And I think this is great, because we have so many people who are willing to fight, but they are not well equipped. And all this aid can help us first win the war, and second save lives. So we will lose fewer lives, and we will fight back more orcs. Um, yeah, and this is great. So Turkey has decided to close the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles Black Sea channels, which will make it impossible for Russia to receive more support through the sea. And this is amazing because they have superiority in the sea. Their fleet is very strong. They also tried to deploy troops through the sea, but right now, since these channels are closed, no more ships can come from Russia into the Black Sea, and this is absolutely fantastic. There are a lot of things you can say about Turkey and the government of Erdogan, but this decision I completely support, and Turkey is a friend for a lifetime because of that. Another thing to thank Turkey for are the Bayraktar drones. These things are amazing. What you see right now on the screen is these drones in action. It's basically a pilotless drone that is able to destroy something on the ground. And how they operate, it's just shocking, of course, and mesmerizing. It should not make me happy, but when I see this thing in action, it does make me happy because more enemies fall without any lives lost on the Ukrainian side. Elon Musk is sending Starlink terminals to Ukraine, and Starlink is available in Ukraine as of today or yesterday. What it means is that even if the internet service providers of Ukraine go down, we will still be able to access the internet, or we will be able to access the internet from basically anywhere in Ukraine through the satellite internet provided by Starlink, and this is great. Yeah, a round of applause for Elon Musk. And also, according to different reports, between 100,000 and 500,000 people joined a protest in Berlin today. I know the range is huge, but I really saw the numbers in between 100,000 and 500,000. The crowd looks huge. I don't know how to estimate the number of people who were at the protest, but if I could, I would personally thank every single person who joined the protest and urged the German government to make at least some kind of fucking decision after 4 days of war. Yeah, and it finally happened, for what I'm really happy. And then the last thing from the victory section, the DMarket, which is a marketplace for trading NFTs in the Facebook's metaverse, completely annulled, I don't know how to pronounce that. Yeah, but kind of they took all the Russian funds from their marketplace away, and they sent all that money to support the Ukrainian army, and that was more than $4.5 million. It is, of course, it is once again, it's not affecting Putin directly, it's affecting like the rich of Russia, but then indirectly it also affects Putin because they will start hating him enough to just kick out that entire government from Russia. Then some news about the fights that are happening, or the battles that are happening, or in general how the invaders are conducting their warfare, which is in many ways evil. Yeah, there is a lot of sneaky warfare happening in major Ukrainian cities through sabotage. Basically, these saboteurs, they are trying to do acts of terror. For example, yesterday, a man left just a bag with something in a shopping mall in Kyiv, and this bag was reported as suspicious, and our police found explosives in it, and it would have exploded if they hadn't noticed it and hadn't disabled the explosive, and this is crazy. So Ukraine is actually establishing a curfew in the cities to identify these saboteurs because they are operating in the evenings or during the day. For example, from yesterday 5 p.m. until Monday 8 or 9 a.m., there was a curfew in Kyiv. So for like way more than 24, actually, yeah, it's 30 something hours of curfew where people were not allowed to leave their homes or leave bomb shelters. But I think this was the right decision to enable our army, our military, to find these saboteurs and terrorists. In general, people are really scared that the terror acts will start happening in these bomb shelters or where people are hiding. And I'm really scared of that because as I see, the Russian military has no respect for human life, and they have no ethics and no honor in doing the war. So they might as well get desperate enough to start bombing civilians in these some bomb shelters are pretty big. Hundreds of people are hiding there. Then Russians captured 2 civilian ships in the Black Sea with 50 people in it. I'm not sure what happened further there. That's the only thing that I know about it. Then some other things, how Russians are conducting this war or this invasion. They are shooting the peaceful population, the civilians. There have been reports of shelling of ambulances and civilian cars with families in it, also of buses. And as of a few hours ago, there was a report that they imprisoned women and children from certain villages, and they are putting them on top of their tanks. They are putting them on top of their military vehicles as a human shield, so that our army would not shoot these tanks and these weak vehicles. And honestly, I don't know what the response of our army will be or how we can get out of that situation, because the plan of the Russian army is to enter our capital and start fighting on the streets. But obviously our troops, our army, cannot shoot or destroy these tanks and these vehicles when our citizens are on top of them. And this is just super evil. It breaks all the agreements how to conduct war on the international level. Also, Putin ordered Russian nuclear deterrent forces to be on high alert, which is sort of a threat, of a nuclear response in this war. And honestly, I hope it will not happen, but I also think he is crazy and desperate enough to do that, because he is noticing that he is losing the war. In the city of Nova Kakhovka, the mayor is negotiating with Russian troops to evacuate the population, because right now the city is occupied. And as of a few hours ago, they allowed some population to leave. Then some other cities like Berdyansk, Kupiansk, Shastya, and Stanitsa Luhanska were taken over by the Russian troops. The cities of Shastya and Stanitsa Luhanska are actually on the almost on the collapse level. Yeah, they don't have more food, they don't have more supplies, and they will not be able to even survive in a few days. And the Red Cross of Ukraine is trying to negotiate somehow that we can bring the supplies to the people who are living there, but so far the Russian invaders are not letting us do that. And some statistics about the losses on the Russian side. More than 4,500 infantry units have been reported dead. 27 airplanes, 26 helicopters, 150 tanks, more than 700 motorized armored vehicles have been destroyed, and more than 300 soldiers were imprisoned as prisoners of war. In the meantime, Russia is reporting no losses on their media. However, there are many evidences of Russian losses. There are many videos of Russian tanks and Russian military vehicles being destroyed, being completely burned to ashes. There are pictures and horrifying pictures and videos of bodies on the Ukrainian land, and soon enough we will not know what to do with them because there are so many. And yeah, our army is encouraging Russian invaders to give up, to lay down the arms, because there is nothing awaiting them in Ukraine than death. And again, this is horrible. This should not be happening, as I already mentioned. And this is really sad. And yeah, on the side of Ukraine, I haven't seen any reports on the losses today. On one hand, they are doing it to keep the morale of the population high by not telling them how much we're losing. On the other hand, I think we deserve to know how many people are dying and what we're losing on our side. I tried to get this information by reading some reports from the Russian media, but honestly, I saw so much propaganda and I saw so many lies being told there without any evidence that I do not feel like sharing it with you. Of course, I'm Ukrainian, I'm biased. I tend to believe our army more, but I also see more evidence supporting the claims of the Ukrainian army rather than the claims made by the Russian media. So yeah, as soon as I get any reports about the losses in Ukraine, I will obviously include this in one of my videos. And one other thing that was lost is the airplane Antonov AN-225 Mriya. It was the biggest and the most powerful airplane in the world ever built, which is very sad. But we will build another one. Mriya in Ukrainian stands for a dream, and as our president said, we will build another dream. Then some miscellaneous news. Ukraine created a hotline for Russian people to ask about their relatives who died in the war. Also, there is a website, and we are already receiving hundreds of calls per day. Russia obviously blocked the websites that we created, and Russians cannot access it, but the hotline, I don't know if they can block it, but we are still receiving calls, and people are asking about their loved ones, if they're dead or not. Imagine, it's nuts. Tomorrow, Ukraine will start negotiations with Russia. They agreed on a place. I think it should happen around the morning, just in a few hours. So yeah, stay tuned for updates about that. Obviously, you can find all the information I'm reporting on the media. So if you actually want to know all my sources, I'm more than happy to share. So just reach out. Also, Ukrainians are unmounting the signs with the street names and any directions on the roads and in the cities to confuse the enemy. Obviously, they can use stuff like GPS, geolocation, and maps, but they cannot orientate themselves quick enough within the city. Yeah, so that's one other thing that we're doing to fight back. Then, at the moment, the United Nations reports more than 330,000 refugees from Ukraine, and thousands are crossing the European borders and the borders of the European Union, what I wanted to say. And there will be more, and I really hope we can very quickly win this war, stop this terror, and let people come back to their homes, let people rebuild their cities, rebuild their home country, and at least feel like they're at home. Because even though the Europe is welcoming us with open arms, they're welcoming the refugees, and a lot of you are helping. A lot of people I personally know they offered help. They offered to host Ukrainians in their homes. It's still unimaginable what these people are feeling. Come on, you are fleeing from your country and you're being a refugee, you're living somewhere else. Imagine yourself in that situation. This is very demoralizing and scary. And also Ukraine is asking cell network providers all over the world to disable roaming services for Russian cell numbers. Again, it's nothing against, it's not a direct hit on Putin, but on the Russian citizens. And I also think that all the sanctions should be applied to Belarus as well. Yep, because they are actively supporting the war. And so what I would like to end this video with is how you can help. Basically, there are so many ways you can help. So first of all, our president and our army is encouraging people with military training, people who want to fight beside us, to come join the army. Even if you don't want to fight, you can come there and train people who are volunteers to shoot, to do first medical aid, and so on and so forth. They need so much help. And if you don't want to leave your country, if you're, for example, in Hamburg, and you have military training, or you know an organization that provides military training to civilians, or some kind of combat training, please reach out. I'm really asking or begging for that, because a lot of people, including myself, would like to receive that training, because we will go back to Ukraine. We are ready to go back to Ukraine if the situation escalates, and we need to enlist in the army. And personally, I want to get ready because I haven't served in the army, and I don't have military expertise or any experience, with the military or with the weapons, which I honestly, right now, I regret not serving in the army before. Other ways you can help. First thing, find a local Ukrainian community in your city or in the next major city. They are working tirelessly day and night to send help to Ukraine. You can donate money to the Ukrainian army. You can donate all sorts of supplies, medical supplies, food, sleeping bags, sleeping mats, warm clothes, military equipment, tactical equipment, night vision devices, drones, anything that can help in combat, or that can help people who are stuck in Ukraine, who are defending our country. Or reach out to me. If you cannot find a local Ukrainian community, just please send me a message via any channel where you can find me. I will help you out. I will coordinate or just send you in the right direction. And in general, please do not ignore this war. Don't think that it doesn't concern you, because today we are fighting, and if we lose, another war will happen in your lifetime. Putin will not stop at Ukraine. He will go further. Poland is helping, and I spoke to Polish people in the past few days, and they're saying they are helping because they don't want this to happen to them. They know they're next if Ukraine falls. Yeah, so if you are spending your free time, of course, I'm not telling you to skip your work, but if you are spending your free time going into bars, planning vacations, or basically anything besides um, finding ways to get involved in helping Ukraine right now, I encourage you to rethink that and to change that decision, because the next few days are very, very critical in this war. We are already starting to turn this around with all the support that we're getting, but we need to keep pushing, and um, we need to push the Russian army and the Belarus army out of Ukraine completely. Yeah, we must not allow them also to kind of settle, yeah, in the Ukrainian cities, because then the war will enter some kind of frozen state, yeah, how it happened in Crimea or in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions for 80 years. There has been some kind of war, uh, or um, or battles or military actions going on, and this must not happen. Yeah, the outcome of this war must be that all Russian troops retreat from the Ukrainian territories, and they must pay for all the crimes that they committed. And I think they will pay, and they will pay dearly. Anyways, stay strong. Remember, together we will win. Together we have the power to stop this. Slava Ukraini!